Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Finances. Once again, my name is Victoria. So today we're going to talk about budgeting. Budgeting. Budgeting and having a budget is an amazing thing. When I was on the road to getting to where I wanted to be financially, that was the very first thing that I had to learn how to do, was how to make a budget and how to live by that budget, which is two different things. Sitting there writing my budget and putting my budget together was already a task in itself, but knowing how to stick to my budget and how to keep this budget in my everyday life was a task all by itself. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's just budgeting. So the first thing I want you to understand, that a budget and living by a budget and budgeting is not a bad thing. I think that people have a sour taste in their mouth when they think about a budget. They think that, okay, so because I'm living on a budget or because I have a budget, that I'm not going to be able to do all the things that I want to do in my life, or I'm not going to be able to live my life the way I want to live it because I'm on a budget. No, it's not true. Because you're on a budget, you'll be able to achieve a lot more goals in your life. You'll be able to do a lot more in your life because you'll have more money to take care of those things. You won't feel so guilty when you spend money because you already pre-planned for it. It was already incorporated, and it won't come out of money of something else. You won't have to sacrifice paying bills or paying certain things on time because you want certain things in life. You don't have to do that. I can tell you, before I was on the road to my financial, well, on the road of my financial journey, and this is back in the day, would not pay a bill so I could have money to do something else. I really did. Or I would call my car, finance company, or myself, and my cell phone was good for it. Call my cell phone company right now to tell you that girl is not who she is now. And I would call them and say, hey, can I get an extension? Or can I pay half now and the other half in 2 weeks? Or can I, and I would do those things so I could have money for something else, like going out. I really would. And I would do those things so I could have money for something else. And I'm someone who's going to be completely honest with you. When before I understood what finances was, the value of money, and how to properly put things together in my life, I was crazy. The way I did things, when I think about it now, like, oh my God, did I really do that? I would really nip tuck. Like, you know what nip tuck is? Like, I would really nip tuck my life seriously so I would have money for other things. Because I didn't understand that I could put these other things in my budget and still be able to take care of everything. So that's what this video is about today. Budgeting, how to make a budget, and hopefully how to stick to it. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is the different types of budgets. Before you can decide on making a budget, you have to know which budget works best for you. It's not a one size fit all kind of thing. You understand? It's different budgets work different ways for different people. And different times in your life, you're going to be using different kinds of budgets. And this is what I say that. When I first started my road, I did a weekly budget. I was really bad with money, like I told you. I was horrible with money and finances. So I had to monitor my budget every week. And believe it or not, here we are about 5 years later, I still do the weekly budget. I like it. Matter of fact, I love it. I sit down every Sunday or early Monday morning. I go over everything I spent the last week. I see where I am right now and I plan my new week ahead. I do this prior to payday. Payday's on Friday. So by Monday, my budget is already put together. So when the money does come in my hand on Friday, it's not then I'm trying to figure out where is it going to go or who's getting paid or what's being handled. No, I already knew since Monday what had to be done and I just do it. I'm at the point where I'm disciplined enough to handle it without trying to convince myself of other things. And here's a term you're going to get very familiar with and you have to incorporate it in your life. You ready for it? Here it goes. That's not in my budget. That's not in my budget. It's not in my budget this week. I can make arrangements to see if I can put it in my budget, and you're not going to be ashamed of it. It's not in my budget. So let's get right to it. So the first thing I would suggest that you get is some kind of folder or notebook or anything of that sort. You want to have your budget tracking and your budget plan all in one place, not scrap sheets of paper here and there. And if you're a digital person, you can use your phone. Me, I just prefer to see everything on paper and pencil right in front of me. So, ta-da! This is my baby. This is where I did all of my budget tracking. This is where I put everything in. I bought this from Walmart, and it was like maybe $15 the most, and this is it. So I'll do like the school teachers used to do, and I'll just go ahead and explain to you exactly how I kept my planner organized. So I did decorate it a little bit. I just wanted to be more me. So I bought some stickers online, and I had my name, a little nameplate made for me and things like that online. So the first thing I have in here are you know what, I'll show you the things in there later. Let me just quickly show you what it was. So I purchased this online just to make it cute. When something is cute and it's feminine and it's like you're more than likely to stick to it. If it's like you, if it's you. And I made tabs. So I want to make sure you can see the tabs right there. So my tabs were my ideas, my projects, my goals, my finances, my fitness, and my personal things that I was taking care of. So I used this for more than just my money tracking, but everything in here was for my growth and my development and things of that sort. So in the finance part, we'll go to there for now. I put a quote, just something to just encourage me every time I would open this and see that tab. And I had one of my budget plans that I was sticking to, that I'm still sticking to actually now. I need to update it a little bit, but it was $10,000 in 75 weeks. And it just wrote week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and so on, how much I was putting into my savings account for that week so I could have my $10,000 in my 75 weeks, which is a little bit more, which is a year and a half, which is possible if you have a budget and you're sticking to it. So that's what that is. And then I have other things in here, but we'll get to that. So this, I didn't want to show you my details, but mostly this. This is something that I would suggest any one of you get if you're on a budget journey, a financial journey, to get something like this so you can be able to keep all your stuff in one place, make it cute, make it you. So that's what that was. So inside of it, the papers that fell out are my bank statements, bills, things that I need to keep in one place. The reason why I keep my bank statements in there because there are certain things that I don't pay cash. I use my debit card as far as, our car, our insurance, our mortgage, we pay check. We do check system for the mortgage. But our car, our insurance, our cell phone bill, you know, the things that we pay with our debit card. I keep my statement so I can highlight the things that I think were non-essential for that time. But that's what that is. So that's what that is. And then just documents that I need to keep in there. This I will talk about at another time, but this is called the envelope system. At one time I used the envelope system. It's excellent. It's for someone who wants to only use cash. Cash is a great way to monitor every penny. If you're someone who has a swipe issue, which I once had, I think I had every issue under the sun. Yeah, I did. I had a swipe issue at one time. I did the cash method. I ordered these online. And what you do is you just, there you go, entertainment, splurge, vacation, coffee, bill. It was like different bills, like gas would go in one, household goods that you need to purchase, things for the home, your tithe if you're someone who paid your tithe and offerings, groceries, like you use the cash system, you put them in this envelope, how much money you expect to spend on each thing, and you can't go over that. If you go over it for that week or that bi-weekly period or that month, then you're just out of luck. It was a way to really, really discipline yourself on your money kind of thing. So that's what it is. So yes, if you are going to be doing this financial walk and this budget life, you want to get a notebook. All right, so that's what I wanted to show you first. So let's get into the details. First thing, when you're planning your budget, gather all your bills. You need to have everything in front of you. You don't have to have a physical paper bill. You can write down on a sheet of paper what my card costs me a month, what my insurance costs me a month, how much I typically spend on groceries, how much my daycare is costing me for the month, how much any bill, anything you have that you are paying out to the world, you need to have it all written down. That way you can calculate how you're going to do your budget. Once you have them all written down, you want to tally them up compared to what you're bringing in. Okay? Roughly. I know if you're someone who works 40, 45, sometimes you might make 47, just give yourself an estimate of how much you bring weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, and you compare that to all your expenses. If for any reason what you are bringing in is more than what you are spending, you're in a good place. You can start the tracker. But if for any reason more money is going out than what you have coming in, you are in a negative place. You can't win like that. That means that every month someone is not getting paid, which will cause you to be behind on everything every time. You're going to have to look at yourself, look at your expenses, and give yourself a honest evaluation of what can honestly be cut out. Something has to go, or some things have to go, because you will not be able to survive in this world if you are putting out more than you are bringing in. And that is the God honest truth. So once you get together and you're able to calculate your monthly, you see what you have, now you have to decide which budget is best for you. The first budget I'm going to discuss is the weekly budget. Two ways to break down the weekly budget is if you split everything in half or you pay everything accordingly. This is what I mean. Let's say, for instance, you have your car, your insurance, and your groceries. Let's say that's the only three bills you have to worry about. Let's say life is just so grand that your car, your insurance, and your groceries are all your bills. And you get paid bi-weekly, right? So what you do is your car note, if it's $400, your first check, you put $200 to the side. Your second check, you put another 200 to the side, you pay your car monthly. If your insurance is 200 for the month, your first check, you put 100 to the side. Your second check, you put another 100 to the side, and you pay your insurance monthly. Same thing with groceries. I'm only going to spend 150 on groceries for the month. So 75, my first grocery shop for my 2 weeks, 75, my second grocery shop, my 2 weeks. That way, everything gets taken care of, and you're not grasping for air because you don't have enough money to survive. I have made the mistake in the past of trying to pay everything in one check, thinking I'll just live off the other check. It was nearly impossible for me. It was nearly impossible for me because I was left with maybe $50 after paying everything in that one check, and it's hard to survive for 2 weeks on $50 when you have children and other things that you have to take care of. Didn't work. So I would do my budget that way by breaking it down and doing the half method. That worked for me. Or you can do bill per bill. What that means is my first check, I take care of my insurance and my car. My second check, I take care of my groceries and my daycare, for example. I'm just giving you examples now. You might have other things that you have to deal with. I'm just saying, you can look at all your bills. If you have 6 bills, for example, you can decide 3 will go in the first check, 3 will go in the second check. Or you can decide the half method, where I pay all 6, half put away, the next 6 half put away. It's all on you and what works best for you. That budget is weekly. You sit down on the perfect day that's good for you for that week. I do suggest a couple of days prior to payday, and you decide how much you're going to be putting away. Once you put those to the side, the next step to focus on is the savings. How much are you going to put in your savings for that time? Remember, what you put into your savings, you cannot touch it. You cannot touch it. So you need to put something that's good enough to sit there, but something that's not too high where you have to run back to that money for whatever reason. So people always say 20%. Some people have to do 10% of their income. It all depends on you. Remember, baby steps. We're starting out. We're trying to get there. There's no need to zoom this. Baby steps. It's 50 what you can do. 50 is what you're going to do. Because you know once you put that 50, you won't be trying to hunt it down to get it back. Okay? And whatever's left over is your leisure money. Money that you need to spend on yourself. Whether it's to get your hair done, your nails done, the barber shop, taking the family out to eat, doing small things with the honey bunny. Whatever you need to do. You cannot cut leisure out your life completely. You just have to be cautious on what you're spending your leisure on. If for any time you want to do something grand, 2 months down the road is my anniversary. I want to take my wife to Puerto Rico. You have to start planning for that 2 months ahead. You start putting $100 away. Now you're going to start to, say, snip a little couple of things. Hey, I can't do this right now. I'm planning for something. Or I'm not going to do that right now. I'm planning for something. That is different. But right now we're trying to build our savings so we can have cushion in our life, still pay our bills, and still be able to enjoy this life that we are living. Okay? That's the weekly. The bi-weekly can be constructed the same way. You can still do your half and half, or your bill for bill. Your bill for bill, which is, like I said, paying bill for bill, or half and half. You just do your planning on a bi-weekly basis. That is for someone who's a little bit more disciplined, who respects and understands money a little bit better. So that person might work that system a little bit better. Okay? Weekly, bi-weekly, same concept. Then we have our monthly. Our monthly uses a more popular budget, which is the 50-30-20. Now this budget is for someone who's a tad bit more disciplined than the 2 weeks budget, or someone who feels like that budget was better work for them, the 50-20-30. Now what that means is that 50% of your income goes to paying your bills. 30% of your income goes to leisure and things that you want to do for yourself and your family. And 20% of your income goes to your savings. That budget, you have to be, like, there's no leeway. You know, if you decide to take that budget on a monthly basis, there's no leeway. You know, the other ones, you know, whatever you didn't take care of the first week, you put in your budget for the second week, or whatever you didn't take care of the first 2 weeks, you put in your budget for the next 2 weeks. But this one right here is on a 30-day basis. So you can't play with that. You know what I'm saying? You have to be tight on your everything. 50% of your income goes to paying your bills. That's it. You can't, there's nothing else, you know. 30% goes to leisure. Now, here's the trick. If you need 60% to pay your bills, you can take a 10% from your leisure. Make that 60, make this, you know, 20, and make a lot more disciplined. So it speaks for itself. 50% pays the bills, 30%, 20. If you can't hit 50, you need to do 60 or 65. That's the highest I would say go, or that budget plan is not for you. So just to revise on the 3 that I spoke about today, there are a lot more budget plans out there. But in my personal opinion, when I was doing my research and trying to find some great ways to start out on my financial journey, these were the 3 that I thought made more sense and would really help someone who was just starting out and trying to get there. Like, to revise them, we have the weekly and the bi-weekly, that half and half, or the bill for bill, or the monthly 50-30-20. Big thing you have to remember, you cannot borrow from yourself. There's no such thing. If you take money from your savings with the mindset of saying, I'm only going to take $100, I'll pay myself back, that doesn't exist. And this is why I say that. You took 100, now your savings went from 500 to 400, for example. When you get paid the next week or the next 2 weeks, you put that 100 back. Now you're back at 500. Yes, you did pay yourself, but you stagnated your growth because you would have been at 600. Do you see what I'm saying? You would have had that 500 there. You would have had an extra 100 to put. You would have been at 600. Borrowing from yourself doesn't do anything but stop your growth. Because even if you did pay yourself back 200, you could have had 8 or you could have had 9 had you not had touched that at all. Do not borrow from yourself. If something, unless it's a God-given emergency, if something does not fit into your budget for that week, it has to wait. Only if it's an emergency. Don't get me wrong. Don't go out there, you know, say not meeting certain things in life. Remember, your savings is for cushion. It's for those reasons. If you have an emergency, by all means, do what you have to do. But if it's not an emergency and it's something that can wait, please hear me out when I say don't borrow from yourself. Okay? It's not in your budget. Put it in your budget. Get it the next week. Get it 2 weeks after if you really need it. And you know what you'll find? You'll find yourself saying, you know what? I didn't really need that. I won't even bother putting in my budget for the next week or next week because I didn't really need that. I liked it. I saw it. I wanted it. And that's for another video, our needs versus our wants and so on. But today I wanted to give you guys a blueprint of the kind of budgets that I learned during my research. That way you can decide which is the best budget for you. Please, please invest in one of these. They're so helpful. You carry it in your purse, you put it in your book bag, whatever. I got my little cross on here. That's just for me. And you can just write, you can quickly just jot down everything. You can plan your life, because I tell you, if your plans and your life are not walking side by side, what are you doing? You're just living, and you're not living the best life that you can live financially. So once again, my name is Victoria. Thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Finances, and I look forward to hearing